Well, continue our series Behind the Ballot. We're going to be joined today by Gary Berntsen, a Republican endorsed by the Tea Party, who hopes to run in the general election against Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer in New York. He's quite a background, a former CIA agent and the author of Jawbreaker, a book on Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. Thank you for joining us this morning. I want to just start, Mr. Berntsen, with a basic question. I mean, trying to run against Chuck Schumer, a money machine, a man who is one of the most popular senators in the history of the state of Washington. That's going to be harder than trying to find Osama bin Laden, isn't it?
Well, actually, it won't be.
It won't?
New Yorkers are horrified at Senator Schumer's behavior, his support for people like Charlie Rangel. If anyone saw television last night, you saw the coverage of Charlie Rangel's birthday party fundraiser. Of course, you know, a parade of corruption and arrogance. Senator Schumer was there supporting Rangel, and his support's the epitome of, you know, of his disgraceful disdain to those that follow the, you know, the rules and the law. I think that you'll find that as I campaign around New York, people are horrified by Schumer. I may be the luckiest candidate in America running against Chuck Schumer, believe it or not. Senator Schumer is overexposed. He is a bully in New York. As I go around to you know, major businesses, and of course I have to raise funds too. What I find is people are fearful of Senator Schumer. People give him money because they're afraid of him. They won't vote for him. He will lose in November.
All right. Well, let me just also point out for our viewers here that you have to beat another Republican, Jace Townsend, in the primary in September. How much money have you raised so far, and what gives you this confidence that you're going to?
Well, first off, I'd say this is I am the Republican designee. I won at the convention by 25 points. That's the first thing. I am the one Republican who is on the party ballot that has massive Tea Party support here. There are 116 Tea Party organizations in New York, over 25,000 members, and over 90% of them are supporting me. I have support of other Tea Party organizations around the country, like One Nation PAC that has 250,000 members. So I am putting together a very, very big ground game. I will not have the money that Senator Schumer has. I've raised only roughly $100,000 so far. But I am building support in a ground game, and I will do a massive micro-funding effort, just like President Obama did. And when game time shows up, I will be ready. I will have over 20,000 supporters on the ground in New York. Senator Schumer may own the airwaves, but we will own the streets.
All right. Let me ask you about one of the things that's certain to be an issue in the campaign if you do win that primary, and that is the proposed building of this mosque at Ground Zero. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I will win the primary easily, and I oppose the mosque at Ground Zero for a multitude of reasons. First off, I don't think that people have followed up on some of the reporting that has been done very well. There's an article in the Weekly Standard by Steve Schwartz that talked about 4 possible sources of funding. One of them was from a former Iranian ambassador and his brother who was involved in potential WMD smuggling. There's a former Malaysian prime minister involved in this, the nephew of the head of the Arab League. This looks like a foreign effort to put something in right there at Ground Zero. My other concerns are operational concerns because it will be a magnet for militants. Militants will be driven to that mosque. They will take that mosque over ultimately because they'll focus on it, and many Muslims in the U.S., you know, sadly don't police their own mosques very well. And that mosque will become a hotbed for trouble right there, you know, footsteps away from Ground Zero. It'll be an OP, an observation point for the monument that we're going to build there. Something else, just for your viewers to know, that there's a mosque in Germany. Over the years, it has been a problem. The Hamburg Mosque, which was closed last week. That Hamburg Mosque was involved in forming the Iranian Revolution in Iran, and that Hamburg Mosque, again, was a center of where Mohammed Atta and the other conspirators for 9/11 functioned from. These mosques are a problem. Now, look, we have...
Wait, now, just hold on. You're not saying that all mosques are a problem.
No, I'm not.
We have had a mosque in Washington for many, many years. It is a big part of this community.
Of course not.
In fact, there are a
that.
number of mosques.
Of course I'm not saying that. Of course I'm not saying that. We have millions of Muslim Americans who are wonderful, and I've served on the battlefield side by side. in the agency and in the U.S. military. Like right now, we have 6,500 Afghan Americans who are translators who share the risks with our soldiers on a daily basis. My son had one of those translators with him for the entire year. My son just finished his tour in Afghanistan yesterday. But I'll say this. The problem is that militants focus on certain areas that are critical or important to us or are considered shrines. That location across from the Ground Zero site will be one of those such shrines, and they will target it. I was the chief of Hezbollah operations in CIA. In the late 1990s, I've had major positions in the agency working, this target, and I'm telling you, they will ultimately focus on that and take that over.
All right, but let me just ask you this. You were a career officer in the CIA, and a very good one by all accounts, and you wrote this book called Jawbreaker about the attack on bin Laden and al-Qaeda. What caused you to make this career change?
Well, I saw the direction of the country. I'm very, very concerned about the economics of all this. Economic security is the best national security. And we are, headed for, we are bankrupt as a nation financially. We owe $14 trillion. It will be $20 trillion by 2015. And if we do not right this ship of state quickly, America will cease to play the role that it has played in the world for the past 50 years. America is the greatest country on the planet. It has done more good than any other country in the world. And I am fearful of what will happen to the U.S. if we have an economic collapse. And so what I believe in is smaller, limited government, responsible spending, not this parade of giveaways, not like when you look at the stimulus package, what a disgrace parts of that were. Those were giveaways to Democratic interests. I don't have a problem with infrastructure spending, and probably maybe a quarter to a third of that was infrastructure, but the majority of it was just giveaways to political friends. We can't afford this anymore. Americans recognize, and New Yorkers in particular recognize, that Senator Schumer, the senior senator for New York, has been trading on New York to advance his own interests, become the majority leader of the Senate.
All right, Gary Berntsen, we thank you. We wish you the best of luck on the campaign trail, and we should also say that Senator Schumer obviously has an open invitation to come and discuss his side of the case with us. So thank you very much,
thank you,
Gary.
sir.
I hope we can have you in the studio next time, and we don't have to do it by phone.
What a pleasure. I'll be there next time.
Okay.